Real Estate Pro Talk with your host, Greg Earney, connecting people, community and property.
Well, hello and welcome. Greg Earney here. Welcome to a special edition today of Real Estate Pro Talk. Today we're going to be looking at this current state of the market that I have to say in my almost 23 years of real estate, I have never seen a real estate sales market in particular that is as hot and frantic and almost, if I can say, almost out of control at the moment with just what is happening out there. Today's episode largely is geared for buyers, and the reason I say that it's geared for buyers is buyers, I understand your anguish, I understand your frustration as I am meeting many of you each week. I'm speaking to a lot of you and our team is speaking to a lot of you where you're putting offers in time and time again, and unfortunately you're missing out. Someone's coming in with a higher offer, and it can be extremely frustrating. It can be extremely disheartening. And I probably just wanted to go over today to summarise a little bit and just show what's happening out there in the market, because I have never seen a real estate market as hot and as competitive as what we're in at the moment. And I have seen a few booms, but I have never seen a boom like this before. And to put it in perspective, my father, Jeff, he's been in real estate operating out of Mooroolbark for 49 years. Even he said to our sales team last week that in all of his time, he's never seen a real estate market like it has been in the last, probably, I guess you could say since the start of the year, but definitely since probably the last 4 to 6 weeks. So for buyers, I hope this gives you a little bit of clarity, because this is an abnormal market that we're currently faced with. First of all, you're probably thinking, one of the questions that I've asked is, well, why are we seeing a boom like we are? And I think very simply, at the moment no one can travel overseas. Even I think as far as interstate holidays, a lot of people have put those on hold due to the uncertainty. Last year with all of the lockdowns, people weren't travelling. And I think what's happened is all of that money that was going overseas, people are now saving that money and have now got extra funds and cash available. And obviously with being in lockdown, I think a lot of people have taken a step back. They've looked at their life. They've looked at, well, where do I want to live? What sort of home do I want? What do I need? And as a result, it really has created this surge of buyers in the market. And on top of that, obviously, the government has put forward a heap of stimulus as well to assist first home buyers. There's currently stamp duty reductions that are out there as well for not just first home buyers, but for the general market as well. And then, of course, not to mention all of the incentives that are around building a new home as well. So I just want to go over a couple little things. First of all, currently for our organisation, our average days on market for a property, how long is it taking to sell? It's taking around 20 days. That's from the time that the vendor is listing the property for sale with us. It's taking about 20 days. So things are moving pretty quick. If you think 20 days, by the time we get photos, etc., and then it's on the internet, you're probably looking, generally I would say somewhere around 10 to 14 days for a property to be sold. Another interesting factor is the number of properties that are currently for sale. I'm going to put a few little graphs up as I talk here today, just so you can see. But you can see when I look at the stats that basically around the middle of December, towards the end of December, our stock levels, this is for our 4-office organisation, we got up to the early 90s as far as properties for sale. And gradually since then, the number of properties for sale has been reducing to where we're now sort of sitting around the mid to high 60s, 70s, that sort of ballpark. So keeping in mind, and I just want to add on that, for our organisation as an example, the last 3 weeks, we've been averaging about 20 sales per week. So there's a lot of stock or a lot of properties that have been coming on the market, but they've been coming and selling extremely quick. And what's happening is that the buyer demand is still far exceeding the amount of supply that's out there. So if you look at that graph as far as properties for sale, And keep that in mind that what's happened since basically the end of the year, we've seen a gradual reduction in the number of properties that are for sale at any one point in time. Now I put the next graph up, that highlights to you the number of inspections that we've done. And you can see here, and I've deliberately put it up, that when we came out of lockdown on the 6th of October, you can see as soon as we opened up and were allowed to do inspections again, we were coming in somewhere sort of around your 350. I think there was a couple of weeks there in November where it was around sort of your 200 odd buyer inspections. You can see in December it sort of gradually increased. I think on the 15th of December it was into the early 400s and so forth. The point that I want to highlight, that if we fast forward to the week of the 9th of February, you can see it was actually 713 buyer inspections we did in that particular week. Now, if you look at the timeline, when we come back, you can see that by the 7th of February, our stock levels were well and truly starting to decline. So here we are, this is the double whammy. Now we've got reduced stock for sale, but the number of buyers out there has substantially increased. We then had the week after, we had the lockdown, which was on the week of the 16th of Feb, so that's why there weren't as many inspections there. The weekend of the 23rd of February, I think a lot of people got out and about and enjoyed that weekend because we had our freedom back and were able to get out and about. And then you look at the subsequent 3 weeks after that, we did 756 buyer inspections. Then it was just, I think, about 657. And last week we did 625 buyer inspections, and this is per week. Now, to put it in perspective, normally for our organisation, as you can see, I would say the figures from sort of October through to December, even the start of January, that's pretty much been our average. If I look at our numbers over the last probably 10 years, we've probably been averaging anywhere from 250 to 350 buyer inspections a week. Never in the history of our business have we ever done 600 buyer inspections in a week, never alone doing 700 buyer inspections in a week. So for buyers, if you're thinking far out, I'm going to these opens and I'm seeing not just 10 groups there, but in some instances you're seeing 50 or 60 groups at the open, you can understand why, because the volume and the surge of buyers has been absolutely unheard of. And if I can say, it's never been seen before. And there was some figures that came out about 2 weeks ago that for Melbourne, it was the highest recorded growth period for February, going back to 2003. So that was basically 17, 18 years. We've never seen growth like what we're experiencing now. The other thing that I can say, and I just to give you a bit of an example, last week we sold 20 homes for the week. Out of the 20 properties that we sold, 12 of those properties had more than one buyer offering on it, and quite often some of those buyers had anywhere from 5 to 10 buyers offering. Now, I'm not going to talk about individual sales today, but this is where I understand, and I know for the buyers it gets extremely disheartening and confusing, that some of the sales that we're seeing, there's an example, there was one property we sold this week. The property was on the market at 740 to 780. We had 6 offers on this property. Of the 6 offers, the majority of the offers came in towards the top end of the range. The second highest offer we had came in at a level of $820,000, which would have been well and truly more than acceptable to the owners. Obviously, it was substantially above the top end of the range quoted. The eventual sale price, the offer that bought the property, bearing in mind we had $720 as our second highest offer, the offer that bought this property came in at $900,000. So for buyers, and I'm seeing this time and time again, where sales that are occurring, the difference between the successful offer and the second highest offer in some cases is $50,000, $60,000, $80,000. It's incredible, the difference. So for buyers, I understand the frustration when you then offer on a property, you offer and I was talking to an agent today and he had an offer on a home. And he's like, Greg, normally I would think this was an exceptional offer because my offer is $50,000 above the range that we've quoted. But he goes, based on what's been happening in the last week to 2 weeks ago, I'm not sure whether that's going to be enough. So all that I can say to buyers is, I think at the moment, and I know for our sales team when we're talking to owners, no one knows what the value of anything is worth at the moment. Prices, just so you understand, prices have risen that quickly in the last week to 3-4 weeks that sales that were made at the end of December and sales that were made at the start of January, they don't compare now. In fact, those sales almost look cheap compared to the prices that we're achieving now. So buyers, I guess all that I can say is if you find a property that you love, put your highest and absolute best offer in. As I say, prices are moving that quick, and I understand the frustration, and there might be a bit of a perception out there, well, why are you quoting low prices? You got to understand prices have jumped probably potentially 30 or 40,000 only in the last week to 2 weeks. The dilemma for homeowners is that if they increase the advertised price range for their property, they do still run the risk that it may not attract the interest that potentially that it could. And I've seen some where they've increased the price based on, well, that's what that property got, and then some of them have also gone to the market and have been a little bit flat. So pricing a property, I can just say, is extremely challenging for buyers. I 100% understand the frustration, and as I say, all I can say to you is if you see a property, put your best foot forward, try to have your terms as strong as you can, as far as perhaps if you can get your finance approved before. If you're looking to make your offer and you're wanting to do a building and pest inspection, may I suggest trying to get your building and pest inspection done prior to submitting your offer. This is a time where not only is price important, but also the terms of your offer are extremely important as well. The other thing too, make sure when you submit your offer, fill out a contract, pay a deposit. Sometimes I get buyers say, well, I put an offer in with another real estate agency and they didn't get me to sign a contract and I didn't have to pay a deposit with them. Look, all real estate agencies have different ways they're going to handle the offer process. The one thing that I can say is that if the offers are close, or even if there's a little bit of a difference, but you've signed a contract, your offer is signed, you've paid a substantial deposit, and it's in front of the owners, that just could be the difference between you getting the property and not. And just on that, if you do sign a contract and you've paid a deposit, be rest assured that if your offer isn't successful, then that deposit will get refunded back to you. For buyers, I understand this is an extremely stressful time. For sellers, this is a brilliant time. I've never, as I say, never seen a market like we're in at the moment. It really is unprecedented. Probably the question I get asked a lot is how long is this going to last for? My thoughts is that I think this market may continue for some time, perhaps until we see an opening of overseas and international borders and travel. I think while there isn't that happening, I think people are going to have so much extra cash and spending available, and I think people are going to be looking at, well, I'm not travelling, where am I going to go? Okay, we might buy a bigger home. Whether the market may hit a point where it might find a bit of a plateau, I can't see prices coming back, and all I can say to buyers, always think property is long term, and if you're buying today and you're going to hang on to it for the long term, even if you do buy a little bit higher, there's a fair chance that in 10 years' time the price will be substantially more than what you've paid for it. So I hope today's Pro Talk gives you a bit of an insight into the market. It is not a normal market. For anyone that's looking to buy, please contact any of our team. We will do everything we can to give you every bit of advice, every bit of information we can, and every assistance to ensure that you put forward your best offer and that you've got every chance to be able to secure that dream home that you're hoping to achieve. Thanks for watching a special edition of Real Estate Pro Talk today. It's a one-off market. As I say, I've never seen anything like it, and we wish all buyers and, of course, all sellers the very best out there in the current market. This is Greg Earney for Real Estate Pro Talk. Thanks for watching.